Hi folks, Doug here. LS Car Customs. We're still putting K in quality every day. Thanks for coming back. If you're returning and you're a glutton for punishment, thanks for checking me out. If you're new, hopefully you'll stick around and spend some time with us. We've got a really great community here of like-minded people, and I'm proud to be the proprietor of such a positive YouTube channel. That's a mouthful. Say that. That's like a tongue twister. We're only 30 subscribers short of the 2,000 now, which is amazing. So I actually think we're going to get there. Who would have thought? Today's video will go back to trying to finish up our door there, and once that door's tied up nice and neat, then we'll just work on the tailgate area, get that squared away so we can do some jam spraying. So let's see what we get done tonight. If this is your first time here and you weren't here for the last video or series of videos, what we're doing is this door here had too much gap here, so we welded some round bar on there. We're going to fill this all in and grind it smooth and put a little skim coat of filler on there, but it'll give us a nice tight gap there. And we had to do the same thing on the bottom, plus we had to split the door on the inside here. We got a little more welding to do because the door was fitting good up to the trim there, and the bottom corner up to about halfway was too far in. So I split it on the inside and just cheated it out and welded it so that it would match up with the rocker better. But that's what we're working on and what we're gonna try to get smoothed out tonight. if you're new here and you haven't seen where I like to do this, my initial coat, when I weld up something like I did with that door, I'll mix filler with fiberglass, because it makes it stronger, seals up all the holes, it makes a great base to put your skim coat on afterwards. But yeah, that's how I do it. Here we got our first rough coat on the door edge there where we stretched it out, and you don't have to be super neat with this coat. You just want to make sure you cover everything, fill in all the little holes, things like that. And you can see it's already starting to set up. You want to sand this before it gets super hard. I let it tack up to where it's not sticky anymore, but it's still kind of not quite cured, because then you can shave it a lot easier than if you let it sit for an hour or something and try to sand it. Then it sucks. But another secret tip, I don't know if people know it, the spreaders, when you have the Bondo residue on the spreaders from doing it, and you want to get them nice and clean so you can keep reusing them. I use urethane reducer. Before it hardens on the spreader, just take a rag, soak a little of that urethane reducer and wipe the spreader, and it takes the Bondo right off the spreader as long as it isn't completely set. I've tried paint thinner, mineral spirits, everything, but the best thing that works is urethane reducer. But yeah, it'll clean your spreaders up so you can keep reusing them, so you don't have to keep going out and buying more. So that's just our first rough coat there of the fiberglass mixed with filler, just going over it. But you can already tell the gap is much better. Pretty uniform top to bottom, nice and snug but not too snug. See if I can open this one-handed. But you can see we're tying that together, but she still closes with a pleasing sound. So we just gotta finish cleaning up the bottom and go from there. This will get another skim coat. And what I'll do is I take and skim coat right over the seam, and after I get done, I'll take my spreader and zip it down through there so that it doesn't bond together. And then I'll flat sand it and give it some nice crisp edges and make it even. And next thing you know, it'll be rolling across Barrett Jackson, right? So it goes from looking good to looking terrible, looking good, looking terrible. It looks terrible again because we piled some straight body filler over our base coat there. And like I said, I just went over the seam with it and then used the knife to cut the gap there. But this time we're going to sand it, and it should reveal itself as looking pretty good. There, we got her smartened up enough to say we're on the path. Seeing it in primer gives you a better idea of how much better that gap is than it was. I think I'll be happy with that. See, looking down the profile there, everything seems to line up good. So we're doing all right. So that's what I got done tonight. That was a good 2.5 hours worth of work, believe it or not. Hopefully it's enough to keep you interested and wanting to come back. I swear the next video, even if it takes a couple of days, I'll finish up the bottom of the door and that door jamb. It'll all be in the next video. Even if it takes me a couple of days to do it, I'll wrap it all together in one video so we're not dragging it out. And then after that video will be 1 or 2 videos of tailgate content, because people like tailgate content. So thanks for dropping by. Thanks for giving me a chance if you're new. Thanks for pushing me closer to that 2,000 subscriber thing. Like I said, as of when I came out to the garage, I was only 30 away. I didn't get a lot of work done the past couple of days because I've been wheeling and dealing in Tri-5 parts. I've had people coming to me looking for parts, and there's not a lot of us out there, I guess, who have parts. So like one of them needed a deck lid. Obviously the deck lid's not going back on this hardtop. So you know, I have 2 deck lids, I could part with one. So, and 56 bumper, things like that, which luckily I have piled up around here. So once again, thanks for coming, and I hope to see you next time. Take care, everybody.